I feel like I could beat Jake Paul in a fight.
Wait, now hold on. When you say you could beat Jake Paul in a fight, do we mean a boxing match? Do we mean
boxing match? Yes.
Speed, also known as IShowSpeed, thinks he can take on Jake Paul in a boxing match. Ever since Jake won against Mike Tyson, he's been getting a ton of attention from all across the spectrum, from top fighters to popular names in media. Speed viewed Jake's matches and thinks that there are flaws in his fighting techniques that he can exploit and thus defeat him.
I respect his work ethic, but when I watch him box, it's seeing it doesn't look fluent. I feel like I can really get him.
With Jake defeating an old legend of boxing, many are ready to fight him and put him in his place. So Speed essentially believes that any trained and young fighter can take Jake on. He himself said he only needs 6 months of camp to defeat any novice boxer, much less Jake Paul.
And especially if I have 6 months, all I need is 6 months. Right? If I have 6 months of training, I'm beating any boxer in this world.
All right. Any boxer in the world.
Jake's manager, Nikisa Berdarian, responded to Speed's comment and told him to put his money where his mouth is, with a pretty irresistible offer. Cool. Tell him I have $10 million for him right now. Sign this week. If he beats Jake, he gets a $10 million bonus. Put your signature where your clout is. Even Jake commented on the Instagram post that broke this news to say that Speed knows better. My guy was playing for sure. While Speed is popular and athletic, he's not a pro boxer. Jake's next contender will probably be a professional fighter. Among popular names, Jake revealed a private Instagram DM from the current IBF heavyweight champion, Daniel Dubois, who recently destroyed Anthony Joshua in 5 rounds. This seems like the one fight Jake is actually interested in, as he responded saying that he'll have his manager have this fight discussed. Although it's important to note that this fight would be highly unlikely. Dubois is supposed to make a voluntary defense of his belt in February against a top 15 ranked opponent, and there's no way that the governing body would sanction Jake to leapfrog all of the legitimate contenders. Tony Bellew commented on this matchup to say,
Jeff, I know the boy's got a great imagination, but I don't know what planet he's on, mate. He's just got to be on Mars or somewhere like that to even think about something like that. Listen, it couldn't be sanctioned anyway, that's first and foremost.
Bellew has been openly criticizing Jake and his fights. He thinks Dubois is on a whole other level compared to Jake.
Secondly, I just think, listen, Daniel Dubois is on a whole new level. Daniel Dubois is one of the best heavyweights in the world. He would knock Jake Paul out with a jab. And believe you me, boys, I'm not messing. It would just be an embarrassment. I can't
While the Dubois fight might not come to fruition, a more shocking call-out was by the Russian undisputed light heavyweight champion, Artur Beterbiev. Beterbiev currently holds the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO titles, and is willing to put them all on the line to take on Jake and put him in his place. Jake didn't really take him up on it, but did respond to the call-out since now many top fighters are reaching out to him. Beterbiev is an undefeated fighter with a record of knocking out 20 of his 21 opponents. He usually goes for serious contenders, but it seems like everyone is sick of Paul claiming he's a legit boxer, or they want a good payday. Because after Jake's response, Beterbiev doubled down on the offer and called Jake out for not accepting the offer. Since Jake has taken on contenders that were retired or old, fans and pros alike want to see him take on a proper fight with the skill set of his caliber. However, because he took on a 58-year-old and boasted about it, the internet is making fun of him and saying that he might just fight a 70-year-old Muhammad Ali or Joe Biden. All these pro boxers showed up after the fight, but Jake seemed to have his eyes set on Canelo Alvarez recently. During his fight with Tyson and right after it, he went after Alvarez openly.
How about Canelo? You said Canelo this week.
Canelo needs me, so I'm not even going to try and call him out, but he knows he wants the payday, so he knows where the money man's at.
He's made it clear that all these fighters need him more than they need him for the payday, and called himself the money man. Alvarez hasn't said much about it, but did say that Jake will have to fight a very different type of sport when he takes on a real fighter.
I don't want to say any bad things. I think he doing good things for his own team, but boxing is a little bit different when you fight in a real fighter.
Simon Jordan spoke about the Paul versus Tyson fight and then stated that Jake needs to go for a fighter that can show him what a real fight looks like. With many calling his recent fight scripted and rigged, Jake's reputation has taken a hit despite winning for not being a legitimate boxer. Jordan wants Alvarez to take this fight and show Paul a real fight.
Jake Paul, fights Tommy Fury, fights people that are declining MMA stars, and fights Mike Tyson. There's part of me that love someone like Canelo Alvarez to go in there and give him a touch of reality.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, all it will be about is money.
Popular female fighter Clarissa Shields was present at Jake's recent fight. She thinks that a ton of fighters now see that a YouTuber is trying to take over their sport and commercialize it as pure entertainment.
If Jake Paul, right, and y'all complain and say, oh, he's not a real boxer, he's bad for boxing, this and that, he ain't that good of a boxer, why the hell y'all won't get in the ring and fight him and beat him?
Now, many wanted to fight him before, but will now to send him back to YouTube and to get a good payday.
Guys who Jake Paul is calling out, and I'm even gonna say this for the King Canelo. If Jake Paul is calling you all time out, he can beat you in a fight, why won't you just whoop his ass? Yeah.
Within the last 2 years, both Floyd Mayweather and Dana White showed confidence that Jake would go down in an instant in front of a fighter like Alvarez. Dana White even called it a 30-second, $30 million payday for Alvarez.
And Canelo,
I don't think Canelo wants to waste his time.
yeah. I mean, it'd be a 30-second payday for Canelo. So I don't know why Canelo wouldn't do it, you know? But they probably... Canelo can fight real guys and keep his credibility intact and still make that kind of money.
But White, at the time, didn't think Alvarez would even go for this fight, considering that he already makes a lot of money fighting legitimate fighters that helps him maintain his reputation. Contrary to Jake's idea, White believes that Jake is the one who needs these fighters, not the other way around.
Jake needs these guys. Jake needs Tyson and needs all these other people, because...
Since fighters barely consider him to be of the same level, Shields believes that that should be enough motivation for them to take him down.
What is all this? Oh, he hasn't earned the fight with me. He isn't that great. He's not a real boxer. Well, show him he's not a real boxer.
Get some free money.
Shut him up. It's a check.
A free check.
I heard that they...
Another fighter who called Jake out is Gervonta Tank Davis. He took to Instagram and called Jake a bozo before saying that he can teach Jake a lesson if they fight. To that bozo who shared the ring with Mike, "You a whole bozo for this and you didn't get the job done. One more thing, I'ma beat the brakes off Jake when I catch him. Uppercut, jab, jab, left hook, uppercut, hook, watch." Jake had responded to Davis's threat during the post-fight conference to say,
he hit you with one and you gave him the tongue.
Only because the crowd got turned up, but it didn't actually hurt.
Conor McGregor was also brought up during the conference, but Jake turned it down immediately, stating that McGregor wasn't his own boss.
It didn't hurt, no. I was just off balance when Woodley hit me, but because I was throwing a check hook and I missed, and then my chin was open.
And since both of them fought Nate Diaz, Jake saw that fight as a regular sparring match. So he thinks that McGregor would struggle in facing him and is scared of Jake's power.
And then he hit me and I went, boom. But it didn't hurt.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Do you feel like it's time for people to just to accept you for who you are and not try to say, hey, you need to fight ranked fighters or fight for a belt or those kinds of things, and just accept what you bring to...
They both shared a quick word on X when Jake called him out to fight, and McGregor, along with the fans, mocked him for not choosing an older opponent. Ryan Garcia thinks he can take on Jake too very soon. He's first aiming for a fight with Rukia Ampo in an exhibition bout in Japan towards the end of December. Then the next person on his hit list is Jake. Many fans were sort of hoping for something like this because Garcia is a big name, and he did predict this, stating that if Jake wins against Tyson, he'll take him on. Jake Shields took to X to call out Jake as well, but Jake immediately turned him down, calling him more irrelevant than Nate Diaz. In other news, this fight was most probably rigged or scripted at the very least. And when the proof of that came out on the popular app, X, the fans went nuts on this fight.
X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago. Now
For Tyson to lose to a YouTuber turned boxer in a professional bout at the age of 58 was sad to see and unbelievable in a way.
Well, it happened. Jake Paul beat Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson's just been beat off Jake Paul. But how? Mike Tyson's an absolute legend and one of the greatest fighters of all time. How can this YouTuber beat such a great fight?
Tony Jeffries brought up the script and compared a few pointers from the first 2 rounds, but he eventually decided that the script pointed out the obvious and isn't as accurate.
The opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened. As soon as the bell went, Mike Tyson came out with that head movement, pushing forward. Immediately he stalks forward with his signature bob and weave style. Now let me just stop right there. Even before I seen this script, that's exactly what was going to happen. Like, what else?
While others disagree and see that the script was pretty much the same as the fight.
The Tyson versus Paul script was fully leaked all the way down to the bow Jake did in round 8. This profile on X posted it anonymously one day before the fight, explaining everything before deleting it today. A fake script has been going around.
The sheer difference between Tyson's training videos and his performance in the fight was so huge that some part of this was scripted. People can't believe that it wasn't rigged or scripted.
The way Mike Tyson was training before this fight looked way different than the actual fight. He was sweating bullets, but still moving like crazy. Also, the leaked script for this fight that leaked months ago just resurfaced. And if you pause and read it and look at the fight, I'm telling you, it's looking like it was scripted.
Even Jeffries pointed out that Tyson's legs were completely gone. He even stumbled while walking towards the stage and has a knee brace on.
Now, as much as we might have wanted Mike Tyson to show a little bit of his old self with that movement, getting his feet in and knocking out Jake Paul, the fact of the matter is his legs were gone.
To a certain extent, many stated that there had to some sort of clause in their contract that prevented serious hits or a knockout from both sides.
Put him away. Maybe you think the deal was Mike Tyson said, I'm not going to get knocked out, but I'll lose on points for my extra 10, 20 million quid. Maybe that's what you're thinking.
Even Carl Froch has hoped for the same saying.
So I'm hoping that the contract's sensible and they're going to take the time a little bit. I mean, Jake Paul's probably going to try and chin him in it because he's got a massive ego and he wants everyone to believe he's a great fighter. But I don't know what pleasure you can take from beating an old Mike Tyson. I don't know what you get.
Carl Froch is a menace for Jake right now because not only did he diss on this fight, but he also called him out to fight. He has been against this fight from the start, but appreciated Jake for being a great marketer and pulling younger fans in towards the sport.
Mike Tyson shouldn't be getting in there with a 26-year-old man. And I know Jake Paul's a fucking joker and he can't fight and he's lived in clown world, but he still shouldn't be punching a 58-year-old man in the head.
Froch called this fight useless and highlighted that it was a quick money grab.
Absolute shit. You think to yourself, what a waste of time that was. And that's what this fight was. The fight itself was a massive anticlimax. It was crap. It was a waste of time. I'm glad I didn't stay up late to watch it. All the people that pay good money to be there and watch it, they must be disappointed with that performance. The fight was absolutely hopeless. It was terrible.
Froch then moved on to say that he can take Jake on with one hand tied behind his back, even though he hasn't fought in almost 11 years.
Demolition job. I'd even tie one arm behind my back and just imagine one arm behind my back, just lining him up with this right hand and eventually levering him with a big uppercut or a big overhand dirty stinker. Put him in the El Sparko position like he's been tasered.
They've clashed before where Froch promised to take down Jake, and he responded saying his usual that everyone wants to make money with him.
He sounds desperate for money. Like most boxers spent his money improperly. As far as I'm concerned, not a single person in the United States knows your name. Carl, fight Anderson Silva. If you can get through Anderson Silva, which I bet you can't, then me and you will fight. I guarantee it.
Who do you want to see in the ring with Jake next? Do you think the fight with Mike Tyson was scripted? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe for more content like this.